Well, world leaders arrive in India in the middle of a particularly brutal monsoon season. In fact, extreme weather, ranging from wildfires to destructive floods, have been a prominent feature this summer overall, said the United Nations, to deliver what's been described as a damning report card on global efforts to tackle climate change. Our Asia correspondent Cornelia Lynch witnessed the damage in the Himalayan city of Shimla.
The force was ferocious. A landslide in the hills of the Himalayas that killed a whole congregation gathered in prayer. The temple was destroyed almost immediately. Outside it was raining, it was early morning, but inside the worshippers had no idea what was about to hit them. The landslide came rushing down and crushed them almost instantly. It is not a tale of Mother Nature. Jagdish Thakur lost his nephew, buried in the rubble for nearly 2 weeks.
Emotionally, it's been very sad for us. The bodies were buried and thrown down into the valley. The last bodies were recovered after 11 days.
What has this loss meant for the community?
It was a big loss to the community. One family has lost 7 members.
All are dead.
We're in Shimla, once the summer capital of the British Raj, the Queen of the Hills. But progress has brought pain to these peaks. Rapid concrete developments built to accommodate tourists. Unregulated and unethical, say critics. Roads choked with cars, hammered by heavy rainfall.
Shimla is crumbling. I mean, many of our villages are subsiding. The governments have to take a greater responsibility because it's what I call the planned destruction of the Himalayas.
But there is no single culprit, and climate change has played a devastating hand. Over 400 people have died in this state alone. There's been extreme flooding across northern India, with rivers swept into towns and bridges and roads washed away. And this is the kind of destruction left behind. And the monsoon seasons are becoming more erratic and unpredictable, with disasters a lot more likely. Preventing them is the job of many far beyond these mountains. It is majestic and ecologically fragile, a corner of the world that now needs saving. Cordelia Lynch, Sky News, Shimla, India.
Well, from India, let's take you to Hong Kong, where a quarter of the city's yearly rainfall fell in just a single hour, the highest figure since records began. From there, Helen Ann Smith reports.
As night fell in Hong Kong, the rain lashed down and it did not relent. Terrifying torrents sweeping the streets, engulfing everything in its path. This is a city not unused to storms, but even here it took people by surprise. Its power and sheer volume, more than at any other time in 140 years. Its speed caused chaos on the roads, cars left abandoned, submerged, their owners with no choice but to flee. Buses filled with water where they stood, and on the subway, just imagine being confronted with this. The water brought swathes of the network to a standstill. The damage will take some time to clear. There was little residents could do but shelter inside and watch. Justin took this video from his apartment and said people here haven't seen anything like it.
I've been in Hong Kong for 30 years. I mean, we get rainstorms, typhoons, and there's occasional flooding in the rural areas, but nothing like this in the city.
For the authorities, it was some undertaking. Rescues of some who had become trapped, the more vulnerable taken to safety. But over 100 people have had to go to hospital, and there are questions about whether warnings were good enough. The rains battered parts of mainland China too, the megacity of Shenzhen at a standstill, homes in other parts of Guangdong province washed out. Reports that water from reservoirs here might need to be discharged have raised fears of more pain in Hong Kong. While some parts of this city have been relatively unaffected, the geography of other parts, with its steep hills and narrow streets, left it simply unable to deal with the sheer volume of rain that fell in such a short period of time. And there's also a sense people just didn't see it coming. These rains come just a week after one of the most powerful typhoons in years here. Mainland China has suffered a summer of unusually bad floods. The rains and the warnings are set to continue into Saturday. The process of rebuilding barely started. Helen Ann Smith, Sky News in Hong Kong.